Check the spreads, check the charts, then check my phone. 10 bands hit my broker, made a flip while home alone. You still saving up for shares? That's a broke boy strategy. Lame! I'm out here buying blocks, turning runners into salary. You hedge too much, that's why your gains look anorexic. I let my nuts swing, whole account looking reckless. You reading analyst notes? Boy, that's fucking sad. Why? I just follow one line straight up to the bag. You holding for a breakout? I'm sniping every wick. You setting stop losses? I just let it hit. You still trading based on news? Man, you lost as hell. I just follow price action, got this game on spell. Witchcraft. Get that money, run it up, stack it high, flip it twice. Stack it. Ain't no patience, I need profits. Fuck a long-term price. Too slow. Too slow. Every candle look like dollars. Every trader fucking win. If I lose, I double down, make it back and laugh again. Get that money, print that paper, turn my trades to golden rings. Texas Roadhouse with the profits, throw my way to 20 things. I don't chase no weak momentum, I just chase these fucking checks. You still trading scared? Get your broke ass off my set. Get out! Made a rack this morning, now I'm posted up at Roadhouse. Ordered every steak, told the waiter bring the whole cow. Butter on my bread like how my pockets keep inflating. You eating off the value menu, boy, you ain't relating. Bro, let me tell you about a trade for 50 on a straddle. Market gap that open, send my balance to Seattle. You playing penny stocks, man, that's cute, that's real adorable. I just shorted Tesla, turned a fanboy to a corpse fool. You in Discord asking what's the next big move. I'm already out, y'all still stuck on what to do. My chart look like fireworks, every bar is lit. Your trades look like my dinner, Texas Roadhouse shit. Flush it. I'm printing, my fingers got ink. Your account in the red while I'm flooding the sink. You cry about a loss, I just double my bet. You hedge like a bitch, I go all in, no sweat. All in! Get that money, run it up, stack it high, flip it twice. Stack it. Ooh. Ain't no patience, I need profits, fuck a long-term price. Too slow. Too slow. Every candle look like dollars, every trader fucking win. If I lose, I double down, make it back and laugh again.
Oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother. Good morning, and welcome back to another episode of the Matt Kohrs Show, where it is a beautiful Monday, March the 16th. Folks, I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you had a bunch of fun. I hope you got to relax. I hope you got to recharge. Maybe you made some degenerate sports bets or poly market bets, this, that, or the other thing. Whatever you got up to, I hope you had success. I hope you absolutely crushed it. And even if you weren't focusing on crushing it, I hope you were able to crush getting a little bit of relaxation in. Folks, if you haven't seen it already, we are looking pretty good. S&P 500 is up. NASDAQ is up. Oil is down. Bitcoin is up. Volatility is down. The bulls have returned. And obviously the golden question of the morning is, will they be sticking around? Will they? Will they? Will they? If I had the answer to that, I would let you know, but hey, I can't tell you the future. I am not clairvoyant, even though I have an astronaut behind me that has a mystical, magical, future-telling ball. He does not tell me the secrets, unfortunately. But anyway, I think we might be able to put our noggins together and figure out what in the world is happening today. Like I said, the bulls are back, but the final question is will they be on parade? Now, folks, we have a lot to chit-chat about. Of course, I'm going to be getting into what's happening with the equities market, the crypto market, the commodities market. I'm going to be setting you up for the remainder of this week. It is a big, big week. FOMC decision this Wednesday. Lots of macroeconomic reports throughout the week. And then Friday is quadruple witching. Kind of one of the most exciting trading weeks of the year. This happens 4 times where 2 different types of futures contracts, 2 different types of options contracts all expire on the exact same day, i.e. this Friday. Then Wednesday's FOMC. It's also volatility expiration. There's just a lot going on today, a lot going on this entire week. So hopefully we can get on the right side of some exciting moves. And I actually think there's quite a bit of potential for exciting moves either today or this week because of a little thing that I didn't get to name it, but it's a pretty sick name, a Vanna rally. V-A-N-N-A, Vanna rally. That same chick who used to be in, Wheel of Fortune, that chick, basically she's also an expert level trader, and they even named something out of her off of her prowess, not only in the Wheel of Fortune and clicking those squares, but also in trading. And I'm going to be teaching you a little bit of a potential Vanna rally today. So I want to chit chat about all of that. I want to chit chat about some other things going on in the world, and I hope that sounds good. I hope that sounds good to all of y'all. I do appreciate you joining me at the crack of dawn. And without further ado, let me see if I could do what I should be doing and switch this all up. Did this move? Did that update? I believe it did. Stock futures rise as U.S. U.S. futures rise as U.S. crude slips back below 100 per barrel. So very quickly, just a snapshot of what's going on. SPY popping, NASDAQ popping, Bitcoin popping, crude falling, and so is volatility. So basically, this is the TLDR here is the bulls are on parade. So things thus far looking good. And of course, we're going to be getting into the specifics of why this is happening, like the dynamics at play. But whenever we get to a new week, especially such an important week, such as the quadruple witching week, which is starting like literally today, I like to remind you guys of seasonality. By the time you get roughly halfway through March, the start of March historically, just from a seasonal perspective, is a bit bearish. That's right where my cursor is now in the bottom left of your screen. You can see how over the past 20 years worth of information, the first half of March is a little brutal. The midpoint is a little choppy, but then it does lead us to a bit of a bullish push. So I just wanted to put that on your radar. Once again, this is 20 years worth of data for the S&P 500. And then if we look at the most recent 5 years, you could see we're in a 2-week period of strength. And then if we look at the last 3 years, same thing. We have a little bit of a 2-week period of strength. So if you're a person who's been hoping that the bottom is found soon, well, it's no guarantee, but seasonality is kind of backing up your particular case. Now, I do admit this particular time around, it is a little bit special because of what's going on in Iran, and there's like very large influences at play right now. It's not a quote unquote normal week, especially even the fact that it's quadruple week, a witching week. There's obviously like more going on. So that's what I really want to get into. White House tries to build coalition on Iran to address energy crisis. The Trump administration is asking other countries to help escort ships through the strait, but a deal isn't set. Oddly enough, as we're going to be covering this, one of the countries that he's asking to assist with all of this is actually China. And if you guys kind of don't know some of the, I guess, political influences at play, Iran is one of the countries that kind of not so quietly gives oil to China. So it'll be interesting how they handle that, especially with the supposed upcoming conference between President Trump and President Xi. So I want to talk about that. But overall, things are not necessarily going the right way in Iran. Iran strikes Gulf oil hub as it rejects Trump's ceasefire claim. So over the weekend, the situation got a little bit worse. We're not necessarily trending to a speedy conclusion. In fact, we're almost trending away from a speedy conclusion. If you're like me and you were doom scrolling from market close on Friday to market open today, there's a good chance at some point on Saturday or Sunday, maybe you had the same thought as me as, wow, these puts are gonna pay. Like, damn, like this is not a good situation. Oil's going to spike. We're going to have a hit to the equities market. But as I already kind of showed you, that didn't happen, which is another good friendly neighborhood reminder. Don't let your political bias get in the way of like actual trend following price action, because I'll be the first to admit, A lot of the developments over the weekend did not seem so bueno, and yet the market is looking pretty strong at this moment in time. Oil industry warns Trump administration that fuel crunch will likely worsen. Oil executives told the officials in the White House meeting that closure of the Strait may push oil prices further. No shit, Sherlock. You don't have to be an oil executive to know a basic implication of supply and demand, and yet here we are. More specifically, oil is currently trading at $95 a barrel. When the futures market opened up late last night, at one point it got above 102. Obviously, for those of you who don't know, the futures market opens up at 6 p.m. Sunday evening. So that's why right here, 18 o'clock, that's 6 p.m. on Sunday, the 15th. So it opened up, and at that point, also, if you were checking what was going on in the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ futures contracts, they were pretty low. But since then, we've just been up and up and up as oil's been coming down and down and down. And that's exactly what's going on with volatility. So overall, the 30-minute, we're showing a little bit of price. I guess it's abating, but you can also see on a relative basis, it's still very high. Not long ago, the end of February, we were trading in the mid 60s per barrel. At one point, we shot up to 119. We came all the way down to 76, then we popped back up to 100. And as of now, and I have no idea where this is going to go, but as of now, clearly running into a wall of resistance at 100 and taking a little bit of a 5% dip from that moment. So tensions obviously still high. Brent crude oil holds above 100 as Trump says U.S. may hit Iran's oil hub again just for fun. What a quote. What a quote. Here I was thinking maybe I would go on a walk this weekend just for fun. Here I was thinking maybe I would have a high dude just for fun. So this is a really, really good reminder that we're all different. We might be of the same species, but we all do different things for different levels of fun. While some of us might maybe listen to music, go to a concert, maybe go to your local Chuck E. Cheese, maybe get blacked out at Texas Roadhouse. While some of us do all of that for fun, others of us bomb oil hubs for fun. You know, I guess whatever knocks your socks off these days. President Donald Trump has threatened to hit Iran's oil export infrastructure on Kohrs Island. I'm probably not saying that right. In fact, I'm 99% sure I'm not saying it right, but it's a very important island, especially through the lens of what's going on right now. As the war has entered its third week, about 90% of Iran's oil exports are shipped from this island. Iran produces 3.2 million barrels per day and exports about 1.5 million barrels per day. A direct strike on Iran's export terminal on this island would likely trigger severe retaliation against regional energy infrastructure, according to J.P. Morgan. So it's very much a big deal. If we have time, I actually want to come back to this video. I thought it was pretty enlightening, but there are other things I do need to cover. Trump leaves allies and foes guessing an endgame for Iran. You know, when I saw this headline at first, I was like, I'm not going to share that. That's not that special. I read the whole article. Whatever. And then I sat here thinking more and more about it. And I was like, what a top tier military strategy. Inherently, no one, whether it is your foe or your ally, could guess what you're going to do if you have no idea what you're going to do. So I kind of like it. I can appreciate that. Like inherently, just at its core, like I feel like this is some like deep art of war type of stuff that if you don't know your strategy, how could anyone else possibly know your strategy? So I like it. I can appreciate that. What's it in the Game of Thrones of just like in chaos is when you climb up the ladder of chaos or whatever that quote was from. I actually forget his name. I don't know. You guys know what I'm talking about if you watch Game of Thrones, but that's kind of where we're at. Trump floats Xi summit delay if China doesn't help in Hormuz, the Strait. So this kind of ties back to some of the conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat stuff I was pitching to you guys over the past 2 weeks where, yes, obviously there's craziness in Iran by itself. There was craziness in Venezuela by itself. But if we look at the larger picture, there's a clear connection between Iran giving China oil and Venezuela giving China oil. And right now, we kind of kneecap Venezuela. We're in the middle of kneecapping Iran. And all of a sudden, this is heading into the potential summit between President Xi and President Trump. And remember, It's either this week's or next week that our Treasury Secretary, Secretary Bessent, is supposed to be meeting with representatives of China to kind of be setting the guardrails for this meeting. But all of a sudden, Trump is saying, well, hang on, if I don't get what I want, we might not even be having this meeting. So, like I said, it's a little bit of conspiracy theory stuff. I fully understand that, but I also don't think I'm necessarily wrong because clearly none of these actions live in a vacuum. It is clearly all connected in one way or another. Trump signals possible delay to Beijing summit as U.S. pressures China to help reopen the strait. In an interview with the Financial Times yesterday, Trump said that he expected China to help unblock the strait before he travels to Beijing for a summit with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Both sides appear to be increased pressure ahead of the high-stakes summit. Data suggests China may be less exposed to the strait disruption than Trump suggested. So maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I'm no political oil strategist on this one, but the more information that comes out, I think my quote-unquote conspiracy tinfoil hat theory of this all being interconnected, well, I think it's actually becoming more likely that it is real. So clearly, a lot of things to pay attention to, and I'm just thinking about this now live, real time with all of you. It's almost as if we've forgotten that the whole Russia-Ukraine thing is still going on. Like, it's almost as if we've forgotten the whole Israel-Palestine thing is still going on. Like, it's just, how weird is it that we live in this world right now where there's like a serious global conflict to the point that it consumes, like in an all-being nature, all forms of U.S. mainstream media. And as soon as there's like a new thing, a new shiny war that we can talk about, that's all we can chit chat about. At one point in time, all we could ever talk about was Russia, Ukraine. That is still going on. When's the last time you heard anything about it? Same thing with Israel, Palestine. That is still actively going on, but who's talking about it? Who forgot? I'm not saying anyone forgot. I'm pointing out the nature of mainstream media, that they drop it in Toy Story like it's a toy that they no longer want to play with, and they move on to the next one. I don't think anyone acts like forgot in terms of like, if you ask them, I'm like, hey, is that still going on? They would say, yeah. I'm talking about the representation in media that they're just, hey, it is not a thing anymore. What about the fallout from taking out the cartel leaders in Mexico, or leader? No one's talking about that. What about Venezuela? Who's taking over? Like, who has the power right now in Venezuela? At one point in time, that was like the big deal. Who's the new representation? The Epstein files. Yeah, that's another good point. Just pointing it out that there's a lot of crazy things still currently going on. And at one point, when they first happened, they were a crazy thing that we spoke about endlessly. And now, because there's a new crazy thing, we're only talking about that. Basically, I guess in a certain sense, I guess kind of overshadowing all these other things that are still actively happening. So kind of crazy, and we're seeing that somewhat reflected in the market and the fact that it seemingly has no idea which way it wants to go. This week is a very big week in the market, not only because of all the things I just listed, just from a major macroeconomic standpoint. This week, Wednesday, March the 18th. First of all, you should know there's nothing scheduled today or tomorrow in terms of major macroeconomic reports. This Wednesday, FOMC decision. Just so you know, there is a 99.6% chance that there's no change to the Fed fund rate. Nothing. Nada. The market is almost 100% certain that nothing will be happening to the Fed fund rate this Wednesday. So basically at 2 p.m. this Wednesday, rates are going to remain unchanged. The market's going to go crazy. It's going to settle down. Then Jerome Powell, still the chairman of the Fed, and that changes in May. He'll start speaking at 2:30, and then the market will start going crazy again. Fast forward to Thursday. You have the interest rate decision out of the European Central Bank, some other numbers coming out of the US. And then on Friday, it is quadruple witching. So in terms of like scheduled data drops, maybe this week doesn't look as heavy as normal, but in fact, it's the opposite. This is actually a crazy week. FOMC decision, quadruple witching. We have big decisions out of Europe, and then obviously tying that all together with what's currently going on in Iran. It is a very, very big week. And even though we're not in earnings season, I do want to let you know Lululemon is reporting, DocuSign, Oklo, Micron, Five Below, Macy's, General Mills, Tencent, Alibaba, that's probably the biggest one of the week. FedEx. So there's a couple you might care about. Maybe you guys care about Playboy. They're reporting, like I said, we're not really in earnings season, but maybe you care about a couple of these individual equities. So I wanted to call that out. What I think is most interesting, it actually has nothing to do with this list, but right here, big news with respect to Meta. Meta to spend up to $27 billion on nebulous AI infrastructure. Finally, Meta is taking more serious steps to say, you know what? We're done with this metaverse crap, our namesake, and we're like really going to be committing to what's happening in the world of AI, and the market is very much rewarding it. Meta up nearly 3% in pre-market as it plans mass layoff to offset increased AI spending. Like, this is just another crazy example of, hey, the market loves when you fire a bunch of people and say you're going to use AI to get more into AI. This is one of many, many examples of the market rewarding that type of behavior. So I get it. Your knee-jerk reaction might be like, wow, layoffs, that's probably not so good. No, actually, stocks tend to really, really like it. So anyway, Meta is up, and it's maybe not doing something that I enjoy from firing people, but I'm saying leaning more into being a serious AI player. I'm going to be very supportive of that. Meta is planning to lay off over 20% of its 79,000 employees to balance AI-related spending, as in 15,000 jobs going to be gone. The company said it's planning capital expenditure of up to $135 billion related to AI this year. So far, Block and Amazon were amongst the firms to announce AI-related job cuts this year. And guess what? For both of those, when they announced it, the stock went up and up and up. The market right now is rewarding the leadership of companies for basically saying, hey, we're going to cut our overhead costs, and we are going to take on AI more seriously than we have been. My apologies. I'm still getting over this gnarly cough. Meta, I would say, in terms of major tech players, is one of the slowest to finally do it. Like, I don't know what it was waiting for. I think it was probably, if anything, just embarrassed with how much time and effort and resources they put into Reality Labs, which was the name of the department, really focusing on the whole metaverse stuff. And they're like, well, that was the wrong play. So finally, I guess it's better late than never. But yes, right now I have on no active Meta position, but it is an aspect of my long-term account. So I just want to be transparent and forthcoming that, yeah, I'm excited about this. I very much want Meta to be bottoming right here and bounce off of this news. So just wanted to share that with all of you. If you haven't already, sign up for the newsletter, mattkohrs.locals.com. It is 100% free. It's in the description of the video. My mod will put it in chat. Once again, this newsletter is free. You've never had to pay for it. You never will. I give you a breakdown of what happened in the most recent trading week. I give you an idea, like a little cheat sheet for all those earnings. Shout out to E Whispers once again. I kind of highlight the ones that I think you're going to care most about. I give you a little cheat sheet for all the major macroeconomic events. Nothing today, nothing tomorrow, and the show really gets going Wednesday. And then probably most useful, especially for my day traders, for my scalp traders, I give you the seasonality of each individual trading day. So for example, today, Monday, March the 16th, it is leaning bullish. Over the past 27 years worth of information, the bulls have won this 64% of the time, as in 2 out of 3 years, the bulls do win. The profit factor is pretty much neutral, which is why it's leaning bullish instead of actually bullish. It looks like it took one pretty big hit about 5 years ago. But overall, I would say that the bulls do have the slight upper hand today. Later on this week, Tuesday, tomorrow is very bullish. Happy early St. Patrick's Day. Wednesday's leaning bullish. Thursday's neutral. And then Friday is leaning bearish. So overall, the bulls do tend to win this week from a higher level view. Is that a guarantee? No, but commenting on the previous odds of the situation, the bulls do well for this particular day. Even more so tomorrow, but really the week as a whole, the bulls do win. So just wanted to share all of that with you. And we do have some time to get into this. Okay, awesome. Let me play you some of the big news happening. And if you're just joining right now, I just want to let you know the bulls are in control. SPY's up, Qs are up. You have oil down, you have volatility down, and you have Bitcoin up. So we are seeing a return to quote unquote risk on assets. Will it hold? Your guess is as good as mine, but I can comment right now. 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute, all bullish. On the S&P 500, 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute, all bullish. And I'm actually going to be looking for the 4-hour to test and ideally push to go bullish today, which would set up a very interesting situation where, fingers crossed, we might be seeing a Vanna rally. I'll be explaining what a Vanna rally is specifically right at market open. But first, let's watch this video. Hang on, something's broke. I'm trying to figure it out right now. Why is the sound not coming through? It's even broken my headphones. Hang on, let me try to restart something. I noticed something's off. Let me restart this. Hang on. I see that it's broke.
Let's bring in Matt Smith. He's the lead oil analyst at Kepler, which owns marinetraffic.com.
So did the
first of all,
turn it
welcome.
off and turn it back on?
Checked in with you a few days ago. It's nice to have you here on set. What would you describe as the current state of affairs in the Strait?
A few ways, really. One is that, as you mentioned, it's ground to a standstill there, right, in the actual strait. But in terms of in the Mideast Gulf, there's just all these tankers that are stuck in there that simply can't get out. Most of them are loaded because all of the empty tankers are getting used to be filled up. And the longer that this goes on, the worse the situation gets, right? Mm-hmm. We know how much passes through this choke point, and so the challenge becomes that you're having these producers in the region that are having to shut down production, curtail this oil production.
There is some movement, that we understand, perhaps of Iranian ships that are getting through, in part because that's how they get money. I mean, they have to make sure that there's transit there. There's been reports of like a Guyana-flagged ship maybe heading to China. So what's getting through, what's not? And as we understand it, the next phase of this is the U.S. is reportedly going to lean more heavily on trying to clear the strait of hazards in a way that would allow for swifter passage.
Yeah, sure. So in terms of what is passing through, it is just the odd tanker, like less than a handful every single day. Some of those are Iranian, some have just been ones that have just gone for it, right? The brave ones or that. And so, but in terms of the Iranian crude exports that are happening kind of in the northern area of the Gulf at the Karg Island there, those are holding up pretty well. And then we're seeing about 12 million barrels, like that's 6 VLCCs passing through there so far this month. And when you think about it, it kind of makes sense that they're letting their tankers go through. They're not blocking everything off, right? They're saying, okay, let's let our tankers go through. And maybe we'll get a situation that evolves over the coming weeks here where they will let certain players go through there and not let others.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I don't know if in the back they can bring that map back up, because I would like you to talk me through what it takes to secure that thing. As I understand it, I talked to a military expert. There are multiple, there's that map again. There are multiple models of
futures are green, oil is red. Let's have a Monday.
From the land could hit a tanker.
Yeah.
So what does it mean to secure it?
But Steve, it's not even that. It's drones as well.
Drones too, right, yeah. Right.
So our expectation is that you cannot make it safe. You can promise to have insurance, but that's little comfort if there's a chance of you.
If I'm a sailor and the boat has insurance, I'm not getting on the boat.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
and even if you have like a naval escort that gets you through there, again, that's not going to prevent a drone strike either. And so this is the dilemma that we're in. This has gone on for a couple of weeks here. This could keep going for another several weeks.
Talk to me about how the system backs up. Right now, I can't produce because I have nowhere to put it, right? The storage facilities are filling up rapidly.
It's a different environment, Steve, for the Middle East producers, because they produce a lot, they export a lot.
Right.
They do not need a lot of storage there because they are just sending it out.
But now they do.
Exactly.
Right.
Or they shut it down.
Exactly.
They shut it down, and then what does that mean down the road for the availability of oil, even once the strait opens up? How much does this echo into how much does today's lack of production echo into the future?
Well, that's why we've had this massive SPR release, right, of 400 million barrels in a way to kind of ease that. But the challenge that you have here is even if you do open up the Strait of Hormuz again, there's such a backup
1 minute
of tankers,
till the market gets rocking.
Take maybe a month for it to get back to normal
exactly enough time to finish this.
Then you've got to get the empty tankers in to load. You've got to get your production back up again. You've got to get your full tankers out. And so this, even if everything was resolved today, the ramifications of this would still be echoing through for at least another month and a half.
Yeah, it was interesting to read that, if you shut production long enough, we're talking a couple months, that sometimes you can't bring it fully back online. Like you can only do 80 to 95% of prior capacity because of all these degradation issues. But I think the oil market would shrug that off if it just had a sense that, product is getting through. And when we've spoken with Marsh and a few other people this week, they've said they're looking towards like multinational flotillas which we had in the 80s, I guess, with Reagan the last time that this happened. You had the Soviets and others coming in. So we have to, I guess, clear the mines, try to deal with the artillery that you both mentioned, and then perhaps have a variety of countries helping to escort these ships through safe passage. And I don't know how quickly we...
All right, 10 seconds. So we're off by a little bit because I messed up that audio. My apologies. But you get the idea. Like, I thought it was pretty helpful to understand some of the potential future-looking implications of this oil disruption. And on that note, dingity ding ding ding. The world's largest casino is now open. Best of luck to all. Play responsibly, and if not, have fun. As always, we are going to be checking out some of the craziness in options flow. So let me get this ready for all of you. We don't need that. We need the hero. I'm not going to be trading anything out of the gate. I just kind of want to let all the riffraff figure itself out before I start doing something uniquely stupid. So let's just get this all ready. We can watch options flow in real time, a little bit of a pump followed by a little bit of a dump. Like I said, right now, I have on no active positions. Of course, I have my long-term account, but I am not doing, a little pump, a little dump. So SPY, Q's taking a little bit of a hit, Bitcoin taking a little bit of a hit. You have oil actually taking a little bit of a hit as well. So as we're waiting to see who's doing what, where is their strength, where isn't their strength, I just wanted to give you an idea of my key levels of the day. I know there's a lot on the screen, so let me just take one quick second to explain this all to you. Let me switch myself over here. As you can see, I always mark out the previous high, low, and close. That is the green, the red, and the white horizontal line. That is the previous high, low, and close. Important technical levels, important psychological levels. The white box is the transition zone, considered to be bullish above, bearish below, and choppy within from the perspective of market makers. And then the final thing on your screen are these yellow horizontal lines, which is just where we see big money positioned on a 0 DTE basis. As you can see, we've opened up at a massive positive gamma node, 6,700. If we can break above that, we're watching 6,720, and from there, 6,735. That would be target 1 and target 2 on the successful breakout and hold of 6,700. Obviously, the bear case scenario would be we don't get out of 6,700, and from there, we could get smacked to 6,675. There's a negative gamma node at 6,660, and then from there, we might actually be talking closer to 6,620. So right now, I would say from the perspective of momentum, the bulls are in control. 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute, all bullish. 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute, all bullish. But remember, we're only 2 minutes into the trading day. A lot can switch. So that's exactly why I know my bull case. I know my bear case. I don't really care which one plays out. I just want to know which one is playing out and then seeing if I could get on the right side of that particular trend. I'm never really coming in with such an absurd bias that I'm unwilling to flip it on that particular day. Right now, I'm expecting a battle at 6,700. If the bulls can win this, I'm looking for somewhere between 715 and 720. Early this morning, the positioning was at 715 right here, this negative gamma node, and then you have a positive gamma node at 6720. So I guess if you wanted to be specific, you could cut that in half. I try to err on the side of being a little bit more cautious, a little bit more conservative, but on this breakout of 6,700, this is my first target, this 5-point region, and then the follow through is closer to 35. So just wanted to call that out since we are trending up. Of course, I would be more confident with that particular call out prediction analysis. If we see strength in the options market, I want to see this delta notional value really pop into the upside. I want to see call buying. I want to see put selling. I just want to see that delta value really, really going up. And that actually brings me to an interesting analysis for the day. I think we have a really, I could say we actually have everything we need. We have all of the ingredients for a Vanna rally recipe. Say it with me, folks. A Vanna rally recipe. There's various ingredients you need. You need the market to be falling. Okay, check. The market's been falling. In the market to fall, you need people loading up on puts. All right, let's check to see if they've been doing that. Here's a look at the Mag 7. Yes, the put skew is as heavy as possibly could be. Okay, so there's a lot of puts. Market's been falling, and you also need volatility to expand. Volatility has been expanding. Then that is the ingredients you need. You're like, okay, I'm getting interested. Volatility expanded, market went down with that vol expanse, and a lot of people buying a lot of puts, as in the put open interest is relatively high. That's the start. That's phase one. Phase two is you need those players to be wrong. You need price to start to go up. You need volatility to start to fall. You need all that reasoning of why people like panic. They got a little bit of emotional. They bought all that protection. You need that grouping of players to basically get blown out of their position. Because what happens? Price starts to go up. As price goes up, well, obviously all that hedging, that's not going to be as worthwhile. Then look at volatility. So you're losing premium because the market makers don't have to hedge as much to the downside. And then from there, you get this positive feedback loop where people start to FOMO into the upside. And all of a sudden, you might see a weird scenario where, hang on, let me go to this. You see an interesting scenario, not necessarily weird, where people decide, let me show you puts and calls. They haven't really done it quite yet, where people decide to get out of those puts, as in dropping that position. You're going to see the blue lines go up and up and up. That is put selling. And then you're going to see the orange and the green line also go up, as in call buying. So this basically undoes everything that's been done. And then the feedback loop of basically not only FOMO, but how market makers have to handle the situation, it causes what's referred to as a Vanna rally. And the end result is a giant explosion in price to the upside. Theoretically, could it happen to the downside? I guess, but not really, because of the nature of vol. Basically, you would need it for it to happen to the downside. Once again, you would need vol to get crushed, and generally when you're going down, the vol does expand. So theoretically, could it happen that way, that direction? Yes. But more so to the downside when you see a positive feedback loop. That's actually referred to as a gamma rally, a gamma squeeze. So in the world of trading options, and I'm looking at the S&P 500, you can see a gamma squeeze both to the upside and to the downside. Generally, when talking about the S&P 500, if you're seeing an explosive move to the upside, yes, it could be a gamma rally, as in people just chasing calls higher and higher and higher, and then market makers having to hedge that out by buying the underlying, and thus it pushes it higher and higher and higher. Or if you're in a weird circumstance, like we are potentially right now, where so many people had puts, they have to admit they were wrong. They get out of those puts, vol gets crushed, then they start chasing calls. You're actually then seeing a Vanna rally, VANNA. So I just want to call out right now that is very much in play today. You have all of the ingredients for it. And I also want to point out that not only do we have a potential Vanna rally, but you also have an upside gap fill. So on the S&P 500, the upside gap fill is to the low from Wednesday of last week, which is specifically 6745. 6745, the low from Wednesday of last week. That is an upside gap fill on SPX. On SPY, it is 67334. On QQQ, it is 60503. So I want to point that out there, that from a technical perspective, you have this upside gap fill. And then looking at the influences of the options market, you have the potential for a Vanna rally. So putting those two things together, to me, that means, oh, wow, a Vanna rally target could easily be that upside gap fill. Now, am I sitting here guaranteeing that? No, because we have to keep our eyes peeled of, are puts getting closed out? Okay, yes. Are calls getting bought? Well, not so much. They were up until about 9:37. We saw that delta popping, but we just took a pretty swift hit here as we are struggling to get this actual breakout above 6,700. So what I'm looking for is a swift and decisive break and hold of 6,700. From there, especially if we see the influences of puts getting closed, as in sold, and calls getting bought, that's when I'm looking for the real pop to that upside gap fill. So I'm putting it on your radar. I'm not saying it's full-fledged happening right now, but there is high potential of it playing out today. So just something to keep in mind, whether you want to play to the upside or maybe you're bearish betting against the market. Well, you might not want to be standing in the way of a steamroller if that actually starts to appear. For me, I don't think I'm going to be too interested in it until we successfully break and hold above 6,700. And as you can see, we are on the struggle bus right at that level. No one should be surprised that we're not breaking through on the first attempt. When you come to such important technical gamma psychological levels, you know a lot of people are going to be reacting to it, and right now you just have a little bit of profit taking. How do I know it's profit taking? Right here, look at calls are getting sold. That is just people are locking in calls. So they're either locking in calls that they're already long or they're selling calls to create a position. We're not going to definitively know until the end of the day in a net circumstance, but most likely we can assume those were people who were long calls because of the negative gamma. Remember, there's only 3% stability right now. So that's a lot of long calls. That's a lot of long puts. So most likely those were long calls that are currently being closed out. That part of it is an assumption on my, I guess, end, but I do believe as if that assumption is actually accurate. Here's a look at the Mag 7. It was popping until about 937, and now things are taking a little bit of a dip. Like I said, a bit of profit taking as we are first struggling at this 700. I do believe there's going to be a test and a break, and it's on that break and then the retest from there. I'm curious, are we actually going to be holding or not? That's where I'm looking for. So right now, I'm not really doing a whole heck of a lot. I'm just waiting for the market to open. I'm waiting to see what is happening. With respect to my accounts, am I on the right side of the screen? I am not. Let me move myself over here. You can see I've done nothing today. My goal for the Lucid accounts is just to make $250. I'm at a point right now where I have enough buffer in all of these that I don't really need to be swinging for the fences. So I just want to get a nice green day in, and you have to have 5 profitable days to be able to do a request, and they consider a profitable day to be $250. So that's my goal on the Lucid accounts. On these FFN accounts, the 7 PVs, I already did the requests. I'm not allowed to trade them today as I'm waiting for the payout requests to either get approved or denied, but I am waiting for $10,000 from these guys. So that's pretty exciting. Legends, this is a new funded account. It's my first attempt. I think I can make as much money as I want on these ones. Trade Advice, same thing. These are new funded accounts. It's either unlimited or, hang on. Do I want to take this trade? Icarus did fire. Hang on, I'm on the wrong chart. Where's my 1 minute? I was looking at the 100 tick just because it's more exciting to watch, but I need to pay attention to this. These FFNs I could trade on because I need to get them up to 155. And for the first time in a while, I was allowed to trade my Take Profit account. So there's my new TPTs. They are funded, Take Profit Pro. So everything you see on the screen, excluding, actually, no. Everything you see on the screen right now is a funded account. So if we trade well, we're trading well for like actual legitimate money, or at least getting a step closer to real payouts. So we're trading a lot of accounts today. I actually don't even know how many we're trading. We're going to have to count them up later. But I just wanted to let you know, to the, I guess, current situation of things, that the only ones I'm not trading today are the 7 PVs. And that's because I have a payout request actively pending. So I don't want to do something stupid in the middle and not like trade poorly and mess them up. So the 7 PVs I will not be trading on today. And all the other ones, well, hopefully we see green. And really, I want to be seeing green above $250. That's like really my goal to get rocking on this particular Monday. Things are bullish. And we did break 700. That's not a bad double bottom. It's a double bottom higher low. So maybe the bulls are finally stepping in. What time is it? It's 9:43. Not a bad deal. So the Nasdaq on a relative basis is weaker. I'm seeing a bit more strength in the S&P 500 right now. Interesting. Interesting. I was pretty close to going long here at 85. I guess I just arbitrarily didn't. Icarus did fire. I guess we were chit-chatting, so I decided to not take the trade. But I am seeing the S&P 500 once again on a relative basis is stronger out of the gate right here. SPY is ripping. The Q's ripped and pulled back and hasn't really taken out that previous high quite yet. Oil did take a hit, bounced back, kind of going flat at 95. Bitcoin showing a decent amount of strength, especially on the daily chart here. Bitcoin getting a nice legitimate technical breakout. So maybe this is a start of an entirely new push, but I have to admit, Bitcoin is showing some serious strength. Out of my own, I guess, morbid curiosity, are any of you starting to swing trade Bitcoin to the long side? I mean, this is the first potential breakout we've had in a hot minute. What firm is 7PV? FFN, Funded Futures Network. That's what they call their fully funded accounts, 7PV. It's the same as this company right here, FFNX. Exhibition, when you pass those, or X, I think X stands for exhibition. When you pass those, it turns into 7PV. So 7PV is the same firm as FFN. This one right here that I've highlighted, the one that says Kohrs, that's Legends. FTD, that is Tradeify. Take Profit is Take Profit. LFF is Lucid. And those are all the ones I have. Well, I still have the Apex accounts. I'm still just waiting for my payout, either approval or denial. Obviously, fingers crossed for the approval, and knock on wood. I'm feeling confident about it. I mean, I know I didn't break any of the rules. I had a couple soft breaches early on, but then I fixed those. And beyond that, so I have all the Apex accounts. I'm just not showing. I just disconnected the data stream because I don't want to accidentally trade them. And in reality, I can't even trade them. This might be my trade here. All right, we're going to take a stab at it.
Order submitted. Order filled.
We're taking a stab at it. We're taking a stab at it. We're taking a stab.
Order submitted.
All right, I am trying to get out of the Lucid accounts early, once again, because all I need is $250. And unlike last week, where I messed this up and forgot to delete the orders, let's make sure that all of those are successfully deleted, because I messed that up. It was an embarrassment to me and my family on Friday, but I think all those orders are gone. Okay, so are there any orders? Let me just make sure. Orders, cancel all orders. Okay, so one successful trade locked in already today. Like I said, that was my goal, 250. And on 3 of these 5 accounts, so on 2 of them, I ended up making money last Friday. So that means I was able to get payouts, like official payouts from Lucid last Friday. Like, just for the sake of transparency, let me show you right here on Friday. Boom, 6,000. So that was 2 accounts at 3,000 each. And then today, since I already locked this in, that means I'm already good to go on the other 3. So that's 3 plus 3 plus 3. That's 9. So I will be requesting another $9,000 from Lucid today. So I got 6,000 on Friday. Another 9 will be coming in today. Locked in. I'm not trading Lucid. You know what? We're going to be shutting that down. We're going to turn these off. I'm going to disconnect it so I don't accidentally trade them. You know what? Let's even take it to the next level where we disconnect it. You know, sometimes you got to protect yourself from yourself. And that's what I did. So that's why I just disconnected it, because I already got my profit target. All I needed was 250. I got the 250, and that obviously secured me $9,000, like officially locked in.
Here comes the money.
Love it. Easy peasy lemon squeezies, folks. Easy peasies lemon squeezies. It's the easiest lemon squeezies you could possibly have. Do you ever have a day where you don't trade? Yeah, certain things. Sometimes I'll get in scalp trades just because some of the SIM defunded stuff, they want you to just get a trade in. So sometimes I do that, like on an FOMC day. And then when it comes to the world of options, yeah, like there's days where I'm just like, nope, the signal never fires, so I never take an options trade. So that does happen. And right now, I'm just trying to lock in at 749. I do see people selling at 748 though. That's a bit of a bummer. Hang on. Let me see what I want to do over here. Let me see. So that did hit my next level. We ran into 715. Interesting. So we ran right to target one. Remember, folks, we called this out before the market even opened. I want the delta to be... See, I am seeing some early signs of this put selling, but then it's kind of going up. But look at this. Now we have more profit taking. Interesting. The Mag 7 also not necessarily going as strong as I wanted to. I'm still attempting to hold out for a potential Vanna rally, and I see that we have some early morning craziness right now. Oh, how do I want to handle this? Do I want to put in my break even now because we just touched 700? Well, now I'm at break even. How do I want to handle it? Oh, do I want to give it a little bit of a moment? I'm on the right side of momentum. 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minutes, all bullish. 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute is all bullish. The 4 hour, the breakout is at 753, hence why I was targeting 749. This is holding 700. Of course, we could realistically retest it. If it breaks down below 700, that's going to suck for me. But this might just be like, why are we all of a sudden having profit taking there? No one should be surprised right here. I told you, it was that negative gamma at 715, positive gamma at 720. These players are just choosing to lock in their profits. So I can't hate for that. They're locking in their profits. And if we go from there, 715, then we're talking about 735. So I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to let this one breathe just because, I mean, of course, there's always risk. Like there's risk that some large player could come in, start selling like crazy, and this could blow me out of my position, and that would absolutely suck. So I'm not saying that this is like guaranteed. Nothing's ever guaranteed in the market, but I see enough of a positive influence going on. The momentum's decent. I wish the Mag 7 would improve. Oh, this is what's screwing me right here. The NASDAQ is taking a pretty serious hit. Look at that. Lots of call selling started at 937, and then you had put buying starting at 947. So I'm not really liking the current trend I'm seeing on the NASDAQ. Like I said, I'm monitoring the situation. So I'm not completely screwed yet. Like I said, my real goal, my first goal of the day was to lock in those Lucid accounts that I just showed you. That guaranteed me 9,000 like actual dollars being paid out from Lucid today. So knowing that I locked that in and I turned those accounts off, I'm now a bit more calm. You know, I think that's like reasonable for everyone to understand. Like I made the trade, got in, got out, disconnected it, turned off all the orders. So that is like secured. I just have to literally wait for the market to close today. I'll make the request. I'll publish how that goes like on my Twitter and my Instagram later today, just for transparency's sake. But it's going to be another $9,000 locked in, which means in the past week and a half on Lucid, 30K. So assuming the 9 will get paid out today, which it will be, I'm 99% confident, that brings my Lucid total in the past week and a day to literally $30,000. So we're going to see how that goes. All right. I need to be a little bit careful here just in case. It's one thing if it wants to retest 79. I'm cool with that. That's just the 50% retracement of the intraday high and low of regular trading hours. I don't need this at the moment anymore. But I'm dancing around break even. Like I said, I'm trading on all my accounts except for the ones where I have a payout pending on these 7 PVs, which is FFN. I have 2K from each, so I have a $10,000 payout pending. So when you're pending on FFN, you get a message basically to not trade because you're putting yourself at risk of not getting the payout if you blow out your accounts in the meantime. So I would rather protect myself from doing something stupid. What Lucid accounts do you have? I have the Flex. I like those the best, but now they have new Lucid Pros that people seem to like those. I own so when I signed up, which was like a month ago at this point, the two options were Lucid Flex and Lucid Black. And I like the rules on the Lucid Flex better. So I obviously got a Lucid Flex. So I have no personal experience with the Lucid Pros, but I have been hearing good things. But I could also let you know the ones I do have experience with, obviously the Lucid Flexes, I am a fan of. Not buying into the bullishness here. Why? Don't predict. Don't try to predict we're about to go up, we're about to go down. Like, predicting is so stupid, especially in the short term. If you're a day trader, if you're a scalp trader, there's literally no benefit to predicting. You're going to be right half the time, and the times that you're right, you're going to feel like you're super smart. You're going to think you're smarter than you actually are. And the times that you're wrong, you're going to think you're dumber than you are. Active trading, day trading, scalp trading, it's a game of reaction. It's measuring what the current setup is, whether you're a trend following trader or mean reverting trader, and sticking to your system time and time again. Let's say you have a system that you're right 80% of the time and wrong 20% of the time. The next time that signal fires, you don't know which bucket you're in. It's cold, it's emotionless, it's systematic. It is you reacting to the setups. It's not you predicting. Predicting, it's silly. Like that comment right there, not buying into the bullishness here. Like, okay, cool. That type of prediction, you're literally going to be right half the time and you're going to be wrong half the time. So I don't even, to me, it's a waste of time to even try to do that type of a thing, because why? What? It's not going to get you anywhere in your trading career. So you're just wasting your time and your energy, and it's keeping you away from the things that you should be doing. I have the Flex as well. I like the Flex. I think the Flex are good accounts on Lucid. Right now, they're running a pretty decent deal. But just to let you guys know, the best deal is actually currently Apex, because you get 85% off pretty much every single day. I'm going to be supportive of whichever firm. Generically, I have a stable of firms that I like their rules, and they're a little bit nuanced here and there. Apex is obviously one of them. And then out of that grouping of firms, I look at who's running the best deal that day. And right now with Apex 85% off, you could take advantage of my favorite account is the end of day drawdown 150K account. I think, at least for my trading strategy, those are the best odds of success. Now, obviously, I do implore you to trade whichever accounts you think you have the best odds of success. But if maybe you're kind of questioning it, or if you're just curious about what I like or what I don't like, I like the end of day drawdown 150K account on Apex right now with that 85% off deal. That means you could take the eval for about $60, which for a 150K account is dirt cheap relative to the rest of the industry. So if you want to take advantage of that, once again, just go to Apex and put in that code Goonie, Goonie, will get you that 85% off deal. Other than that, the SPY tried to break out. We did get the breakout of 700, ran all the way up to the next level. Since then, there was some profit taking right at 948, and from 949 to this moment, we have not been trending, so pay attention to that. Just no trend. We're seeing a similar situation in the NASDAQ where we tried to get going, we pulled back, and we're just kind of finding this base at the pre-market high right here at 690. So hopefully we bounce off of that. I have one winning trade today. I entered all of my, accounts at the same position. So on the Lucid ones, I already locked in at a 15-point gain, which was $300 per account. So that's 1.5K. And I just did that because it secures a payout for me today. And then all the other ones, I'm just riding right now. And I'm looking for a gnarly breakout and ideally a continuation. But part of me wonders if I should just lock it in at 750 and call it a day.
Order submitted.
Because that would be $1,000 per account on top of the secured Lucid money that I already made. And that's just a nice start to the week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I'm trading 14 accounts right now. Is the risk reward really worth it to go from 14K to 28K? Should I really be trying to double it up? Or if the market gods offer me this opportunity, I wonder if I should just lock in the 14K. What is solid? It's not even 10 a.m. It's 9:57. If that hits, not a bad deal. For a half hour's worth of work, market opens at 9:30. I tried the Goonie code a few times and passed the eval twice. Blow up my PA accounts Do they have a limit on how many Goonie codes I can use? No. Goonie will always just get you whatever the current best deal is. Extremely large amounts of XOM because I had since open, bought houses and went to college. Some said to sell Chevron or Exxon, excuse me. That's what you're trading. Hey, congrats on your success. You know what? I want to make it a good start to the week. If I could lock in this $14,000, I've been having, since the start of this calendar year, your boy's been having real bad luck trading TPT accounts, take profit accounts. And this is day one of my brand new take profit pro accounts. So part of me wants to lock in at $1,000 just as like a decent start, you know, just as like, okay, like we're getting going. I feel like maybe that's a good way to do it. Just like, but then will I be bummed out if it is a Vanna rally? I guess I could always play options. Like if I deeply, deeply believe we're experiencing a Vanna rally, I could hop on the bus by options. Like I don't have to keep trading futures. So there's many, many ways to skin a cat here. Many ways to skin a cat. Wow, that's an unfortunate knock from 40 down to 20. I'm also trying to be mindful of the 10 a.m. reversal, of the potential 10 a.m. reversal, because we're about 20 seconds out. And over the past couple weeks, we've been watching it live a lot of times. Not every time, but like pretty stark changes in the market's behavior from 9:30 to 10 and then 10 onward, or at least like 10 to 10:15. There's some big either pop to the upside or big drop. So right now I'm consciously paying attention to the time and just being a little mindful, but I'm just hoping I can lock in here. You know, start the week on a good note. Shit. Well, that's not so fun. I had visions of grandeur for a second. Dude, these 10 a.m., you never know which way it's going to go either. I've been backtesting it to see if there's an advantage to being bullish or bearish at 10 a.m., and there's no advantage. We're just a lot of the time seeing reversals. So for those of you who are watching, be like, well, why wouldn't you just short it at 10? Well, it's because sometimes we have a big pop at 10 a.m. So it's not like the 10 a.m. time frame is dominated by one side or the other. It's just seemingly dominated by like volatility and movement. Don't forget about the unrealized drawdown on those TPT accounts. Yeah, that's another reason why I'm trying to not be overly greedy with it, where it's like hardcore trend following, where, I mean, even this, it got kind of close. It's unfortunate for me that it got to 41 and just didn't get that fill. That does eat into mine about $1,000, which is about 20% of my buffer. But yeah, when you're first starting out with TPT accounts, that is actually the hardest. The first portion of the buffer is the hardest because you're working with unrealized drawdown, which is a pain in the butt. Fortunately, it does go away after you fill out the buffer. So like you just need to hope that variance is on your side when you first start trading. But it is another thing of coming into my calculations of why I'm looking at 750 right now and not trying to like swing for the fences for like a 200 point gain. But you are 100% spot on, unfounded warrior. 100% spot on. Come on, just give me my pop. Just give me my 14K. 14K a day keeps the doctor away. That's an old-timey saying. Come on. No. If it can battle it above 40, I'd rather it be within this 10-point region than within, 20 points of me. Come on, brother. All right, well, hang on. Let's do a sanity check to make sure I'm still on the right side of trend. I am not, but we just got a flow alert, so that might be marking a reversal. So the S&P 500 was trending down. Not all the time, but a decent amount of the time, at least anecdotally. Flow alerts tend to mark reversals. So I'm paying attention to that. NASDAQ bottomed. All right, we're getting kind of close. We're within 20 points. Come on, brother. Come on, brother. Come on, brother, mother. Oh, mother, oh, brother. Brothers and brotherettes. We got a lot of undecided candles currently. Speaking of which, Here's a song called Undecided Candles. Let's go. Come on, brother. Come on, brother.
When the candles fall and your margin called and the doomers start a crowd, you just zoom out wide, take a breath inside and remember what I
Mag 7 picking up a little bit. NASDAQ doing nothing. SPYs actually started to recover and then got hit once again. We're just continuing to struggle at this 715 for the second time today. We struggled, broke out, ripped, pulled back, higher low, pushed to pretty much the same level. If this goes again, I'm watching 35. If it goes, that would be the next bullish target. Of course, we could just fail here and drop back down to 700. But so bull target would be 735. Bear target from this pivot point would be 700.
You got a bull in me.
Man, it's just we're just not really going. Come on. I just want 750. We did get to 741. Oh, brother. SPY's taking a hit. Son of a bitch. Come on, stop it. Put buying. What are they buying, dude? What are they buying on the S&P 500 right here? I don't get it. We're at an intraday high and we're seeing the most extreme amount of put buying. It's obviously downward pressure, but if they're wrong, that puts a lot of upward fuel. If they're wrong. That's a big if. But yeah, we're at the low delta reading. So I'm on the right side of price momentum, 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute bullish, 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute bullish. I'm currently on the wrong side of options flow. Options flow is, it's not doing what I needed to do. Come on, you son of a gun. Why? Why? Why are they ruining my day?
Yeah, the market's wild, but stick around.
Why?
You got a bull in me.
I don't know how much more downturn I really want to take here. I'm worried about this overall structure getting broken. Currently, from market open to this moment, we do have higher highs and higher lows, but I'm worried about the depth of this pullback. I am worried about the depth of this pullback. Come on. It's not the most unreasonable level for people to buy. We're right at 700. Come on. Buy or step in. We need to start cheating. A little bit of magnet action, folks. A little bit of magnet action. A little bit of price manipulation. There we go. Bounce off of 700. Here we go. All right. Let's pop it. Go right to 50. Let's go. Come on. Go, 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 go.
Woke up late, hit the bell, markets open straight to hell. Leverage high, nerves are fried, but I'm in too deep to bail. Charts are bleeding, red tsunami, bought the dip. Hello tsunami, one more contract, double down. Now I'm hanging by a
Order
thread.
submitted.
I put in my protection. Come on.
I was chasing tickets like they owe me rent. Now the broker's knocking saying pay your debt. I was diamond ending but my hands got red. And my P&L looks like a fucking mess. I was one bad trade from a margin call meltdown.
There we go. Mag 7's finally showing some life. Finally. All right, I need the SPY to follow suit. At least it stopped bleeding. Come on. Come on. Come on. Go.
Like a fucking mess. I was one bad trade from a margin call meltdown. Lost it all fast, now I'm spiraling down, 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 down. One dumb bet, now I'm out of the game. But I'll be back next.
Come on. Go. Charge. Come on. Fuck. No. We got to 48.50. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. You can do it, brother! Brother! Hey! Fuck you, NASDAQ.
Like a fucking mess.
Order canceled.
There we go, there we go, there we go. Hell yeah.
We love you!
We love you, New York! Good night! Good night! Let's see how much money. How much money in realize P&L? All right. So with respect to trading futures, I'm now done on the day. I just want to kick off the week. It is a crazy week. We have an FOMC decision. It's quadruple witching. There's a contract roll. Oh, a friendly neighborhood reminder that you should probably be rolling your contracts either today, tomorrow, or Wednesday. I'm trading the NQ March contract. You're going to want to update that to the June contract. We are in a contract roll week, so whether you do it today, tomorrow, or Wednesday, it should probably be done by Wednesday. Honestly, today should probably be the last day that you're trading on the March contract. You should probably update to the June one. Just a little bit of a public service announcement right here. You can see NQ0326, January, February, March. This is the last day I'll be trading on the March. You should be updating to June. So just want to put that in there. So I'm done just because, like, I know there's craziness this week. Adding all of it together, how much did I make? Where's the total? 16K. Locked in. That's a good Monday, folks. That's a good fucking Monday. You know, basically top ticked it. picking out all these levels right there, top ticked it, got in right here, got out right there. Hopefully you guys can see that. I don't know how small. Hang on. I know how to make it. Data. Where's the data? Data series maybe? Scroll down. Text and markers. Okay. Right there, buy at 696, sell at 750. So I made about 54 points, and I did that on 14 of these accounts for the full ride. And then on some of the Lucid accounts right here, I got out even earlier just to secure myself. I got out actually on that very first bar right here. I got in at 98 on those and out at 14 just to guarantee that $9,000 payout. So I'm done. I'm done. I'm in. I'm out. I don't need to overstay my welcome. I secured another $9,000 payout from Lucid with those trades. I'm not trading on the FFN 7PVs right here because I'm awaiting a $10,000 payout from those guys, and they say not to trade when you're waiting a payout, so I didn't want to do that. My Legends account, I only have one of these. I'm trying it out because a Discord member really, really likes it. He says give it a whirl. So that's not an eval. That's a funded account, slowly but surely growing that one. Tradeify's slowly but surely growing. These are funded. I'm just trying to get the buffer more and more. So not that close to a payout, but we're getting there. Same thing here on these FFNXs. I need to get them to 155. And same thing on the Take Profit Pros. This is day one. So just I'm trying to come out of the gate, not only with a bunch of new accounts, or maybe not new, but accounts with lower buffer that I'm just trying to be a little bit more conservative with it. I'm not trying to come out swinging for a grand slam right now. I just want to slowly but and surely, methodically grow these buffers until the point that I have a little bit more room to do what I want with them. So like I said, that's it for me. You saw the one, I basically made one trade today. I just got out at different levels. So basically on the day I went one, I made $16,000 on funded accounts. I secured myself a $9,000 payout from Lucid. That's it with futures. Excuse me. So before we move on to some other stuff that I think is important, any questions? Do you have any questions on what I did today, what I saw today, how I'm trading? By the way, GoonieTrading.com. If you want to trade with me, if you want to be mentored by me, GoonieTrading.com is the place to do it. That's how you get into the Goonie Trading Discord server. So if you have more, in-depth, complicated, additional questions, GoonieTrading.com, or you could just reach out to me right here if it's just a quick question about what the server is in a general sense. There's a contact page. But once again, Goonie Trading, my mod will put it in chats in the description of the video. But just more of I guess I can't get to it. But with that in mind, do you have any questions of what I saw today? Why did I go long? Why did I manage it the way I did? And I want to break this down. I do pride myself on being the only real successful trader, not marketer, trader who is doing this live every single day. Obviously, if I do get approved from Apex, I'll be the first person that I know of, and I'm pretty sure this is true, to live stream the entire saga of starting at zero and going all the way up to $1 million. I believe I will have the record for being the first person to ever do that. And then obviously, as we're waiting for these Apex accounts, ideally the approved payout, we're basically running it back on Lucid, on Tradeify, on TPT, just kind of proving that it's not a one-time fluke, consistently trading, good risk management. I try to pride myself on being the most transparent person in this industry. So not only do I show you my winning trades and my losing trades, but when things go this well, this early in the day, we might as well use it as an opportunity to do a little quick self-reflection and see if I could help you guys with maybe any of the specific questions you have. Does your love life depend on how much money you make? No, because you can't multiply a number by zero and expect it to be something other than zero. Great question. I watched your take profit video and you mentioned Gen prop trading video, but it wouldn't pull up on Rumble. You have the date. I don't know. I don't understand that question. Getting a prop trading account for the first time and trust you to guide me. I recommend starting with a paper trading account. I don't know what your experience is with futures trading, but if you never traded futures trading before, use a paper account. Don't risk anything until you get used to some of the mechanics of futures trading, like why put any money at risk. But I don't understand your other question. Quick recap. Yeah. Basically, I'm a trend following trader. Bullish, bullish, bullish. 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute. 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute. Everything was bullish with respect to momentum. With respect to structure, higher highs and higher lows on the 1 minute. Higher highs and higher lows on the NASDAQ. So when looking at the S&P 500 and on the NASDAQ, we had bullish price structure as defined by the higher highs and the higher lows. We had bullish momentum as defined by the EMAs. I did not like the options flow. I used this flow alert as, they might be done. Where I got lucky, though, was this MAG 7 at 10:06 turnaround. So in this particular trade, the options flow was the weakest, but also to counteract it, there was many Icarus signals. Icarus is my own trading methodology. It basically ingests a bunch of data, does some data mining historically, and says, hey, who right now has the edge based on when we've seen these setups before? Is it the bulls or the bears? So even though options flow wasn't looking the best, Icarus was firing bullish multiple times. So Icarus firing bullish with the price structure and the price momentum is why it was a B plus setup in the bullish direction. It would have been A plus if options were also going to the upside. So was it a perfect setup? No, but it was almost a perfect setup, just missing the options flow. And then obviously from a technical perspective, I got in on a pullback right here. So this blue dash line is the 50% retracement from the high and the low. So instead of chasing it on a high, I waited for the pump. I waited for the pullback. I got in just below a key level. I was in at 96, the key level 700. So that protects me a little bit. It popped up. I got protected by that level, popped up again, got protected by that level again, popped up to my profit target and just locked it in. Remember the words full port and you will be fine on the new account. Why did you unstart the million payout start? Wait, what day did you? Okay, I think you mean start. What day did you start the $1 million payout first video? Late October. The accounts, I want to say like October 21st. The accounts traded for 73 trading days from October 21st to February 3rd was the calendar dates. You mentioned a general prop trading video. Yeah, it's all up there. Like, I think it's literally called, like, what is prop trading? Let me see if I can find it. I forget the exact title. If the question is, like, generically, what is prop trading? Trading secrets. Right here. Prop trading explained. What is Apex Trader, Tradeify, and TopStep? Right, like it's right. Prop trading explained. That's the title right there. Trump is doing a big news conference at 11:45. Maybe, but it's not going to involve me because I already made my money. Matt, would be cool to hear about your approach to funding challenges. Do you trade them normally or risk a lot more? No, if anything, you have to risk less because the challenge generally has rules that if you take one bad beat, you might be done. So if anything, you have to be a little bit more conservative as your buffer is lower. When you finally receive your $1 million payout, will the Discord be free? No. If anything, the logic would be that it would go up in price because I did something that no one else has ever been able to do before. But why would I give it away for free? I mean, what you guys saw, like as much as I joke right now of like, oh, like I only worked from 9:30 to 10 and I made $14,000. Yeah, you might be like, well, Matt made that in a half hour, but that's because I've quote unquote put in my 10,000 hours of study. I mean, I've been trading like truly endlessly for over a decade now. So the cost associated with the Discord is the cost associated with someone who's been through this entire gauntlet, distilling their advice in a faster way for you to learn. It has nothing to do with like my financial success. If I wanted to do that, I wouldn't stream at all. I wouldn't educate at all. I would just go trade by myself and like just keep everything to myself. Got to pay those taxes. Yeah. And obviously, remember, on the $1 million payout, Uncle Sam's going to come knocking. Uncle Sam is definitely going to get what? his 400K. It's funny. The way it works in the US is Uncle Sam is with you, helping you out every single time you make a profit. But whenever you don't make a profit, when you have losses, nowhere to be found. What platform do you use for options? Public. It is by far the best platform to trade options on because it's the only one where you get rebates. So every single time you trade an options contract, you get paid to do so. Doesn't matter if it's a call, doesn't matter if it's a put, doesn't matter if you're buying, doesn't matter if you're selling, doesn't matter if it's a simple strategy, doesn't matter if it's a complex strategy, like long calls versus iron condor. You get paid a rebate every single time you trade an options contract. I know of no other options platform that does it. Thus, that's why Public is the best. Is that proper live? That's a real account. That's a real brokerage. That's not a SIMDA funded. You're absolutely right, Mateo. People pay handyman tradesmen for their knowledge and the speed of the results, not the time the task takes. There's no difference. Yeah. And to people who think there is a difference, I don't know, don't sign up. Like, I don't need to be here, like, trying to convince every single person that, like, it's appropriate for them to be. Maybe you like my teaching style. Maybe you don't. Maybe you like me as a person. Maybe you don't. I understand I'm not everyone's cup of tea. If you want to learn from me, the first person in history to do $1 million all wall live, cool. I'm happy to teach you. If for some reason you don't want to, okay. Like, that's your prerogative. My taxes this year are almost ready. I got to get a jump on things on Sunday. I just paid my taxes past week. It was multiple six figures. It's fucking painful. It sucks every single time. And then I just look around at, like, what am I getting for it? And generically, the answer is fucking nothing. It is brutal every single time. I just did mine myself, and it is not fun. Not fun whatsoever. Not everyone's jar of mayo. Exactly. I wish I was everyone's jar of mayo, but alas, I won't be. You're my cup of tea, bro. Happy Monday. Yeah, happy Monday. You got your return? Dude, I don't get returns at all. It's more so of a question of how much money can the government take from me. The Discord is worth it. Wow, what is in my throat? The Discord is worth it. Kind of misleading, though. Coffee Thoughts has nothing to do with coffee. Yeah, there's a little bit of misleading, I suppose. Just change your nationalities to Somalian and start your own nonprofit NGO. Taxes solved. I might have to look into that. You know, I think in the right lighting, I might look Somalian. It might be easy to play it off. What if I moved to Costa Rica? No, it's a beautiful place to visit. Same with Puerto Rico, but I'm not going to move just to save on taxes because it suffers in terms of quality of life. Like the quality of life you get used to living in the continental U.S. When you go to island life, as beautiful as islands can be, there is a trade-off there. Would the biggest benefit from the Discord be options trading? Thanks for all the knowledge. I don't know if that's the biggest. I would say I mainly focus on options and futures trading. Every once in a while, I'll talk about like what I'm doing with my long-term investments if something changes, but that just doesn't happen that often. So the conversation is mostly about options and futures, but really it's about the concept of how to be a successful trader. So theoretically, you could be a crypto trader and still apply the main thing that we're discussing, because the main thing has to do with the math of the market and how to approach it in a scientific method. So you might come in and be like, I don't like how Matt trades. I don't want to trade that product, this, that, the other thing. That's fine. The whole point is more so of how to develop a proper trading framework. And I'm going to tell you now, but you're going to hear me say it 1,000,000 times over in the Discord. It all comes back to your risk management. So I would say one of the main characteristics of the Discord is for all the traders who are in there, and we have like live trading, there's like voice chat and written chat. It's beating into everyone's head every single day of what is your risk? What is your risk? What is your risk? So Of course, we have like nuanced videos and discussions on, like, for example, today, Vanna Rally. I was explaining it in the Discord this morning. So that's a very nuanced thing to the world of trading options that like is obviously useful to know. But I would say like you're asking like what's the general most like, I don't know, point that's driven home the most in that Discord. It's really just time and time going over the math of why the best traders are the best risk managers, to be completely honest. Do you still have a feet pick channel in the Discord? For people who pay the premium fee, yes. Matt, do you want to move to Florida to be taxed less? I certainly do, but my wife does not. And I found out in married life that when it becomes a 50-50 decision, it ends up just becoming whatever your wife wants decision. So I would love to live on a beach in Florida. I would love to have like just a house right on the beach where I trade in the morning like this. Right after this, I slap on my sandals and I walk on the beach all day answering Discord messages. But like I said, when it's a 50-50 decision, seemingly in a marriage, it becomes your wife's decision. So instead, I am not. Matt physically assaults me if I don't care about my risk. I need it, though. It's all my fault. Yeah. If you're in the Discord and you don't respect your risk, I do show up at your doorstep that night and just jump you. Scott's not wrong. What percentage of your income comes from YouTube versus your trading? 95% comes from my trading, I guess. I don't know. It might honestly be more than that. Like YouTube, my YouTube doesn't even make enough money to pay for my one editor. It doesn't. I mean, I think my YouTube revenue, I mean, I don't care about sharing this stuff. My YouTube revenue last month, for the month of February, I think was $2,000. Like I said, like I pay my video editor more than my YouTube, than YouTube pays me. I know that there's all these scam artists out there. Did you guys see how TJR got exposed? There are people who fully rely on their video revenue to pay their bills because they suck at trading. I'm the opposite. I wish I made more money from my videos. I do. Like I wish I made as much. Like I wish I'm not saying this as if I'm proud that I don't make much money from videos. I actively work to try to make more money from my videos because it's something I put my effort into. But I guess just to be transparent right now, I'm lucky to make $2,000 a month from my ad revenue. So, yeah. Yeah, but you get sponsors and stuff. I don't know who my last sponsorship is. And even that, like your sponsorships directly are reflected by how many views you get. So if my views are down, I'm still not getting that much. Would you be willing to share your tax person's info? I'm looking for someone who understands day traders' tax setup. Haven't had much luck locally. No. The YouTube channel is a tax write-off. Yeah. Just it's all charity. I consider you guys all to be a form of charity and babysitting. You know how they had all those daycare centers, the babysitting shit in Somalia? I am the digital internet version of that. I too perceive this entire effort to be a giant daycare babysitting effort. So I actually claim all of you for my daycare business. If the argument starts with, yeah, but you're already fucked. I mean, I don't get it. Like, who gives a shit if you're making money from, like, whatever your ad revenue? I think it's problematic if you're making more money from that than the thing that you're talking about. I think that's problematic. But when people are like, look they make money off of, like, ad revenue. Yeah, no shit. Why do you think they're doing it? Like, duh, what the fuck? So to me, that's not, like, that, like, I guess, like, that much of a dunk. And maybe you think it's a dunk, and I guess I can't really change your mind on that. But all I can tell you, as a person who just did my taxes had the much bigger implication was trading. It was not ad revenue off videos. I thought you were just a group of cool dudes and dudettes that love being degenerate traders. That's actually the name of the daycare. Just cool dudes and cool dudettes. I just tuned in. Have you taken a trade? Yeah, I'm already done on the day. I made $16,000 right there. I made 300 on my 5 Lucid accounts, and I made 1,000 on all the other accounts. I have brand new take profits. I have fresh FFNXs, I have fresh Tradeifys, and I have fresh Legends. So I think those have all traded for 2 or 3 days. This is day 1 on the TPTs. So just trying to come out of the gate somewhat conservative. You could see I went long right there at 946. I collected my profits right here at 1011. So that was a 25-minute trade, and I felt like I was pretty close to bottom ticking this low. I was pretty close to top ticking this high, which my goal is just catch the meat of the move. And that's all I did. I caught the meat of the move and I moved on with my life. That's it. That's very much how I view day trading and scalp trading, is just whatever you think the move is, or whatever the move actually is, not what you think it is, but whatever actually the move is for the time frame that you're interested in. My goal is never to top tick or to the bottom tick. If I do that, that's awesome. But like, that's never my intention. My intention is just to get the meat of the move. Matt, what do you think the odds are of the downside gap fill today? 0. I don't think there is a downside gap fill. So 0, I guess, would be my answer. For there to be a downside gap fill, is there a downside gap fill? I guess I didn't check. I know there was an upside gap fill. Let me just double check really quick. There's no downside gap fill. So 0. Buzzed Lightyear. For there to be a downside gap fill, we would have had to open above the previous trading session's high, and we did not open above the previous trading session's high. Does that make sense? When you vacation in Florida, make sure the wife sees the dolphins, sea turtles hatching, eagles nest. The list is endless of what you get to see for free. I mean, I love Florida. I think there's very beautiful parts of Florida. I'm not necessarily the biggest fans of areas like Miami, just because like that party culture time is behind me in life. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I've just aged out of it. Do you have a video of how to set up NinjaTrader like yours? No, but happy to help you in the Discord. Oh, it's the high. Thought it was the close. You could do that. The odds are different for that, Buzz Lightyear, if you're basing it off of close. But that's not what traditionally is thought of a gap at all, which is why every single time we do it, I say, oh, we're above the high or we're above the low. Like, I'm always calling out the high and the low. I've never, ever said, oh, we're basing it off of the previous close. But there is an interesting amount of statistics surrounding that. There is a proclivity for the S&P 500 at some point in the next trading session to revisit the previous trading day's close. Like, that's just it's a whole different set of odds. Like, it is a tradable phenomena for sure. I'm not saying to not trade it. I'm just saying that has nothing to do with the gap fill. S&P 500 is getting hit. Mag 7 did pop, gave some back. The NASDAQ is actually not looking so good. So I'm seeing a big disconnect between price action and options flow as of now. Yeah, I'm definitely not partying. It could actually kill me. In Miami, yeah. It's just, it's a party scene. It's a party culture, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you're into. But I'm a little bit more into just a little bit more quiet of a scene, I suppose, is probably the best way to explain it. So I don't need to be paying the prices of Miami, which is probably the most expensive area of Florida. Well, that's actually probably not true. There's probably more expensive areas because there's a lot of like secret old money in Florida. But it's one of the most expensive areas in Miami, or in Florida, Miami is. So to be overpaying for a thing that I'm just not a fan of doesn't make the most sense. I've been hearing a lot of good things about Tampa and the Tampa area. Tampa, St. Petersburg, Sarasota, like that region. I guess like what, halfway up the West Coast on the Gulf side there. I've been hearing lots of good things. And I've been there. I've visited it many times, but I I only ever, whenever I go, at most I get to stay for like a week. So I don't really get to splurge too much on true Floridian life. A quiet scene with margaritas. Hey, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at my life. I'm not against some of the things that are involved at partying, with partying. I just don't really care to do it around other people. Anna Maria is really nice. I know some people with property on Anna Maria. I've been there before. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Starting to get crowded, to be honest. Yeah, because The Secret's out. Dude, The Secret is out on it. Wow, we're taking a hit now. Look at this. We ran right into it. Remember before how I told you about 715 to 720? We ran right into that level, got rejected. This is why I deeply believe a lot of people get confused when I say this about trading. If you are a day trader, a scalp trader, a short-term trader, you are not in the game of predicting. You're not generically predicting bullishness or bearishness. In fact, having that type of bias can really, really hurt you. Trading is a game of reaction. Identify the key levels, key technical levels, key option levels, key psychological levels, whatever it is, identify the key levels. A lot of the times they do overlap, and then pay attention to the reaction at that key level and play the trend that is generated from there, or the mean reverting trade that is generated from there. The game of active trading is very different from investing. Active trading is perfect for reacting, not predicting. While you're longer term investing, of course, you're going to be doing some predicting there. I think short-term traders commonly mess that up and really want to predict. But if you ask me, and I think a lot of trading stats suggest that you shouldn't be predicting, you should exclusively be reacting. And now there's a gigantic put credit spread at 6670 by 6660. Hey, Matt, for Apex, you said 150K is the best account. Do you think it's harder to make 9K in 30 days or than 3K? No, because you can scale it up. It's the same linear thing. If you could trade the same linear amount of contracts as in 3x the amount of contracts, so it's the same thing. But obviously, if you're trading a contract, well, duh, that's a stupid question. Of course, trading a contract, it's harder to make 9K than 3K, but you can scale it up. You would just trade more contracts. So from a relative basis, it's the same task. Yo, Matt, did you get your $1 million payout? I did not. Trust me, if I did, everyone would be hearing about it. It'd be all over the place. Right now, I'm just patiently waiting. And as much as it's not necessarily fun to be waiting this long, yeah, like I get it. When you're talking about a 7-figure payout, like you're talking about over $1 million, there's a lot of AML, there's a lot of KYC. They have to review all of their trades. There's probably other regulatory things going on in the background that like I'm just not even aware of. And if you look at historically, whenever you're talking about large single payouts like this, it does roughly take this long for most people. So, it's just par for course. Yes, I wish I could wave a magic wand and the very next day it showed up in my bank account. Of course you wish that. It's just not what it is. And I completely understand from a business perspective through the lens of Apex, they have to comply with a lot of regulations. And obviously they're not going to break one of those rules or those checks to get me my money earlier and potentially get in trouble with whoever the governing body is. So like, I get it. But no, I'm still just waiting. I've been frozen out since February 3rd. And as of March 16th, I am still waiting. Is there a chance that you wouldn't get it for some reason? Yeah, of course, there's always a chance. But generally, I feel like at this point in time, I really understand the rules. And I mean, I've even showed you the account. Well, I mean, like I documented the whole thing. So you guys can see the trades and when I was denied and why I was denied. So right here, denied, approved, denied again. That denied and that denied, these two denials, which were the first and the third request there. The reason they were denied was because I had the soft breach of the MAE rule. Like I just made a mistake and just had wrong positioning at the wrong time. Then I fixed it. And then ever since then, I had a total of 5 approved payouts. So I had multiple approved payouts since this soft breach denial, which happened 3 months ago. So the fact that I was approved, it tells me that, okay, they looked at my payout, they looked at my trading, and they said he's good to go. And like, so in my mind, I think the odds are very, very, very high, because I would be honest with you. I mean, well, not even honest with you. I streamed it. Like, you guys could just see it. I wasn't breaking the rules that they're catching other influencers breaking. Other influencers were gaming the system. They were going long in some accounts, short in other accounts. They were trading 2 correlated assets in opposite directions. It was gold one way, silver the other way. I was never doing that. I was copy trading all of my accounts together. I was never doing like opposite trades or separate trades. I was trading all my accounts together, trading NQ. So I wasn't doing any of that funny business. And did I have the soft breach 3 months ago? I did. But then since then, there were multiple approved payouts, as in I followed all the rules to the point that they're like, cool, he is following our like established rules. So I think the odds are very, very high. I would be thoroughly surprised if I didn't get approved, because I don't know what rule was actually broken. So I'm at the point of just, it's a game of patience. Like, I get that it takes a while. It's frustrating, but I get that it takes a while. Hey, if I were running that business, I would also follow all the regulations to a T, just so you don't get in trouble with the regulatory body. So I get it. It just takes a bit. When you get the payout, are you going to stream inside your local Texas Roadhouse? I don't know if I'm going to stream there, but I'm definitely going, and I'm going to have a couple, 2 extra margaritas for everyone. Didn't you do the opposite trade past your evals? Are the rules different for evals? At that point in time, the evals were different, but I didn't do that anyway. So, but once again, that's for evals. You can't do that any longer. You can't hedge out your evals. So what you could do in 2025 to quickly pass the Apex test, you can no longer do. If they catch you doing it, they're going to just kill your accounts. But anyway, even for me, when it was still allowed, I didn't do it that way. The days that you got the MA, didn't you make any profits? The days that you got the MA, did you make any profits? Yes. But once again, that's a new age rule. That was not a rule back in November. Back in November, if you broke the MAE, they denied your next payout. So I got denied my next payout, and I had to trade for another 8 days. Remember, they have a whole new set of rules, because these were all done on the legacy accounts. So, and now they don't even have MAE. So like the situation has completely changed. But when I broke it, the rules were obviously just different. Like right now, you can see it on Apex. There's not even an MAE anymore. No MAE rule. So it was under a different set of rules. That pending Millie payout going to be great. I hope so. It's either going to be one of the coolest days or one of the worst days. But I feel with pretty high confidence it's going to get approved, because I know I didn't break any of the rules. If you would have taken smaller payouts over time, would that have been better than waiting for the $1 million chunk? Well, how are you defining better? If you're taking the smaller payouts over time, you're risking blowing out the accounts and then not even getting to $1 million. So like, how are you what's the definition of better? Are options doing anything interesting? Potentially bottoming here as we're getting to an hour 15 into the trading day. We started off with decent strength for the first 15 minutes and then got hit for an hour straight. Someone turned on a sell bot program from 9:45 to 10:45, and now it looks like it's finally over. Looks like it's finally, at least not just, it was systematically just walked down there. You could see it. Look at all that put buying, look at all that call selling, and now it seems like it kind of has stopped somewhere between 10:35 and 10:45. So it lasted about 1 full hour, like almost this like perfect drop off in Delta. Would you accept a deal from Apex? I don't know what do you mean a deal? A deal from what? Safe to say Matt is taking a vacation to Florida after cashing in that $1 million. I would have to take a vacation for 6 months and a day to make it worth it. So that's probably not happening. Did you fill out your March Madness bracket? No, not yet. I need to do some research on it. But the Goonie Trading Discord, which once again, if you want to be in the Goonie Trading Discord, goonietrading.com. If you have any questions, reach out to me. There's a contact page right there. Apex is currently running an 85% off deal. So speaking of Apex, which still no other firm gives you 20 accounts. So in terms of the potential, like who do you have the potential to get the most money with? It's really tough to come up with an argument to beat Apex because no other firm allows you to have 20 accounts. So if you want to take advantage of that, 85% off, use that code Goonie. And right now you could also get 80% off on SpotGamma. SpotGamma is not a prop firm. It is this tool right here. Like where I look at the big money positioning, this is all SpotGamma. When I look at the options flow, it's all SpotGamma. When I look at the skew, this is all SpotGamma. So like this type of tool, like it is just by far the best options analytics tool. Not to, I guess, name the other ones, but I've had I guess at one point or another, the premium membership to all options analytics, I am promising you the best in the game is SpotGamma. I've used every other one and it's all a race for second. I promise you that. You can spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on all the other options analytics tool, which is exactly what I did. And after using all of them for years, I promise you the best one is SpotGamma. Like, it's actually it's comical of how it's not even close that SpotGamma is by far the best. It is by far the best. Does the discount apply to the cost of funding the accounts? Not on Apex. Apex, the discount's on the eval because it has the eval fee and the upgrade fee. But on other things such as Lucid or Tradeify, it's a one-time fee. So yeah, it does apply there. But Code Goonie is going to get you the best discount on any of them. But I'm just here to let you know that as of today, right, like if you had to buy evals today, this is the best deal. Matt, does the community have the collective power to short down oil price? Probably not. It's a multi-trillion-dollar commodity. I don't think we're going to be influencing it whatsoever. 5-minute is breaking down. 10-minute is bullish. 30-minute is bullish. 5-minute is breaking down on the NASDAQ. 10-minute is testing. 30-minute is still bullish. The 4-hour is almost getting perfectly rejected at its 50 EMA. And then the ES still has some distance to go. SpotGamma is a must if anyone trades options. It has saved my ass multiple times. I 100% guarantee. The amount of money SpotGamma has made me is pretty good, but the amount of money it's saved me, oh my God, dude, it pays for itself every other trading day just from how much money it saves me. Matt, I think you have videos available to learn the Apex and try out. Are the videos up to date with the rule changes? No, I don't have a recent one just because the rule changes are recent as of a week or two ago. And that whole time I was really, really sick. So we just figured wait for my voice to recover. So we will be making that video. Ideally, it'll either be coming out later this month or early in April. But we didn't film it just because it was so new and then my voice sounded like dog shit. So we just wanted to wait. How much is SpotGamma? There's various tiers. There's not a singular price. Do you use Essential Alpha or Standard version? I use whatever the highest tier is just because I use all the stuff on SpotGamma. But I'm not saying that's necessarily appropriate for all of you. Obviously, you should read in what the offering is and decide which is best for you because maybe you don't use all the bells and whistles. I just happen to, so I pay for the highest one. And yes, I pay for it. It's not just given to me. I'm in on the annual subscription, and once a year, there's a hit to my credit card bill. But I don't mind it because I make a lot more from SpotGamma, and on top of that, it saves me way more than I would lose in stupid fucking trades. Do you know where SpotGamma gets the data? Yeah, they get them from all the exchanges directly. Like directly from the exchanges. They have the best data sources out of a lot of these other ones, not all of them, but a lot of them get them from second and third tier data sources. SpotGamma, talking to the CEO, they're paying the exchanges directly. They have the best data feeds. Hero Flow and Equity Hub is where I lived in creating my positions. 100% guarantee with you. Do you have videos on Spot Gamma? Yeah, in the Discord. What else? 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 How do options flow work? It's just the real-time trading of right here. Are right here. The blue lines means that people are buying puts. The green and the orange lines means that they're selling calls. So you're literally seeing real-time trading in the options market, and then obviously the net impact on the market from it. So we're measuring the delta flow. But on top of the delta, which is obviously an important Greek in the world of trading options, you could also check the gamma map, which is a second order derivative of delta, and you could still see the overlap positioning there. So these are all the gamma influence. You could see the net open interest. It's the most transparent way to see what the hell is happening in the world of the options market. During your trade earlier, didn't you pull back into the intraday drawdown? It did, but then I got out at my max value. So my realized high and my unrealized high are the same value because I got out at a value that exceeded the highest peak before. And just to be clear, if you don't understand what that means, like the fact that you're asking this question, you should take 5 minutes out of your day to go. I actually have a full video. Where is it? Right here. Apex's worst rule. This really, really breaks down the unrealized high and like what it is, what it isn't. So it sounds like you have a little bit of confusion about what it is, which whatever. Watch this video. Watch it on double speed. You could get through it in 6.5 minutes. Apex's worst rule. This is fully explaining what the unrealized high rule is and how it is different from the realized high, which is very important to know. But once again, this applies to their other accounts, but it still applies to the Take Profit Pro account. So it's still good to know. And once again, that's just out there for free. How does Spot Gamma show you what is happening in futures? Could you give me an example? It doesn't. It's an options are a derivative product, and so are futures. They're two different derivative products. This shows you what's happening in the options market, but obviously, if you look at what's happening in the options market on the S&P 500, and then you overlay that with price, on the screen right now, the white line is the movement of the S&P 500 index. The colorized lines, this green and this purple, are the options flow, specifically the delta movement in the S&P 500. At no point have I said that any of this is futures, but we know that the S&P 500 index has to move in lockstep with the S&P 500 futures contract. And just to prove that to you, right here, I'll throw them both on the screen. 10 minute. So this is the S&P 500 index starting at 9:30. Let me zoom in so you can see starting at 9:30. So this is the actual index. This is the S&P 500 futures contract. And guess what? We could get even crazier with it. And I'll show you the ETF, SPY. They're all the exact same. So we know that they have to move literally in lockstep together, because if they're not, they're just going to be arbitraged away. So here's the actual index, a pop, a drop, a double bottom bounce. Here's the futures contract, a pop, a drop, a double bottom bounce. And then here's the ETF, SPY, a pop, a drop, a double bottom bounce. They're all going to be the exact same, to the point of only a difference of 0.0001 maybe. Because if they're different at all, that's an arbitrage opportunity, and people far smarter than you and far smarter than me are arbitraging that away within microseconds. So none of this is directly showing you futures information, but anyone who understands the correlation between the S&P 500 and ES, or understands the correlation between the NASDAQ and NQ, or understands the correlation between the MAG 7, SPY, QQQ, NQ, ES, understands how you could still use this. Does that make sense though? Just to be clear. Do you think your stop is more important than your TP, your target price? Yeah. I would say in terms of your it's somewhat strategy dependent, but in general, it sounds like you're generically asking. This is actually a really good question. The main question is, what is more important, your profit target or your risk? Out of those two, what should you be spending your time focusing on? Out of those two, which one should you be spending your time refining and really dialing in? Without a doubt, it is your risk. I promise you, your risk management is extraordinarily more important than your profit target. It's not just like a little bit more important. It is the important thing. If you look at the biographies, autobiographies, documentaries, any stories of the best traders in the world, the one thing that they all have together in common is their risk management. They all might have many different styles on their profits and how they manage it, this, that, the other thing. But the one thing that they're all going to tell you is they are borderline paranoid. They are obsessed about your risk. So as to the question, when you're in a trade and you have your profit target and you have your risk, the one you should really be focusing on, without a doubt in my mind, I promise you, is your risk. I promise you. Without a doubt. Like, to the point where if you don't have a trading strategy, if you're like, hey man, I trade on vibes. Like hey, my bias is bullish or bearish. I flip a coin. I talk to my cat. I just rip it. You can still be very profitable if you are good at risk management. In fact, it's kind of a famous study. This was done a couple years ago, and at this point, in excess of a decade ago, they took a group of profitable traders, and the experiment was this. Group of profitable traders, you do not let them decide their own entries. You give them live positions and they have to manage it. And guess what? All of those profitable traders remain profitable throughout the duration of this experiment. They did not get to pick their entries, which generally has like a huge thing to do with their profit target. But this tells me that the main way to really improve your trading career is getting really, really good at your risk management. Really appreciate that. A group of profitable traders were all given live positions. They did not get to pick their entries. They just basically had to manage it. And that tells me that your emphasis should always be on risk, like without a doubt. So obviously, it's one of those things that you hear that, like, even if you've been trading for like 2 days, if this is your second day ever trading, you're probably like, yeah, man, I've heard that. Risk management. And what's weird is it's one of those things where from when you hear it to actually putting it in practice, it's one of the most simplistic things from hearing it, but it's one of the most gigantic jump forwards in your trading career of when you actually internalize it. And what I mean by that is, for me personally, the days or the periods of time where I'm like really on a hot streak and I'm like making $1 million from Apex, it all has to do with the times that I care about nothing more than risk. And risk is like 99% of the time of what I'm asking myself about. And the profits watch themselves. This is like a little bit of a saying that I've coined myself, but I deeply believe in the world of active trading, not investing, in the world of active trading, your job is to pay attention to your risk and manage your risk, and the profits will take care of themselves. I deeply, deeply believe that. And as much as you can understand that logically on day one of your trading career, I don't think it's until you truly internalize that concept that you're going to make gigantic leaps forward in your own trading career. Like, truly. Beginner question, can you explain how to use a stop loss on options on public? I don't think you can. Well, you can with OpenClaw because they now have an exposed API, so you could easily manage your stops whenever prices hit. But in terms of a normal stop, that's a little bit funky in the world of trading options. Why are they so interested in gathering our personal data? Who is gathering your personal data? I mean, that's just the world we live in, but I don't know who. I've heard it said that your exits are where you make money, not your entries. I agree with that. I think your exit and your management of your exits are far more important than your entries, like far more important. And what's weird is like there's a focus within the retail community of like when should you exactly be getting in. I think the opposite is actually the truth here. Okay, folks, that's pretty much it for the day. I mean, I locked in my 16K pretty early. It was like a 25-minute trade. I was done just past 10. I haven't made any options trades yet because there's no real trend. So I still might do some options trades today, but I'm done trading futures. So that was fun. If you want to trade with me, if you want to get mentored by me, GoonieTrading.com. If you want a fat 85% off on Apex, where you're allowed up to 20 accounts, use code Goonie. I like the end of day drawdown 150K accounts. Those are my favorite, but obviously use what's best for you. And if you want to track options as transparently as you possibly can, Spot Gamma is your go-to, and you can get a fat 80% off. We are the only community on God's green earth that they offer this package to. So 80% off if you use that link in the description of the video. Other than that, I just wanted to say thank you for all the good vibes. Great start to the week. Obviously, I hope you had a phenomenal weekend. Thus far, we're crushing it on a Monday. I hope you guys are doing even better than I'm already doing. But right now, when you show up to the casino and you crush it early on, make sure to not overstay your welcome. So I'm reminding myself of that in real time as we speak. I'm going to take my attendees. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my Monday and basically just start prepping for tomorrow. Very much do not want to be overstaying my welcome. So shout out to Apex, shout out to Spot Gamma, shout out to everyone in the Goonie Trading Discord. We're about to get ready with some March Madness. And then obviously shout out to all of you watching. I truly do appreciate all the good vibes. I know I'm coughing a little bit, but I'm happy that I'm pretty much 95% healed up from whatever bullshit bronchitis respiratory thing I had going on. So I'm happy to almost be back to my fighting weight class. Folks, thank you. I'll catch you on the flippity flip. Peace.
Greater